time for Measure Twice.
Welcome to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors and Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential, and you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We are brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops, with the showroom now open in Granger, right next to C. Kramer Interiors. And Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You could visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. I haven't said the word Dino in a while, so I'm just saying it. Dean. We got to get Dean in here.
We'll work on that.
Yeah. Drag him in here. Maybe have him sing a song with Chris. But we love Hoosier Hardwood Floors. They're special. But we have a special guest in here. I don't know if you can tell by the vibe. It's a different vibe.
There's probably a buzzing on the other side of the radio.
Yes, do not adjust your dial. We have Mark Litke from Cherry Pickers in Shipshewana in here. Hello, thank you. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's awesome to hang with you guys again.
Yes, we're a good hang. That's what we've heard. Don't you say anything,
I
Chris.
wasn't going to say a
No,
word.
you were. You were.
Not.
You can't
I
say,
was not.
You can't say anything remotely potty in here.
I was not even thinking that.
Chris will. No?
No.
Now you are.
Now, yeah, thanks. Yeah, no, I wasn't.
Yes, this is the show that talks about everything except what we're supposed to talk about. But thank you so much for being in here. You have a great shop. My wife was in there a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, just walking around.
Was I in there when she was in there?
I don't know.
Probably not.
She probably didn't say a word to anybody at all. Like,
okay.
Yeah. She's no, I'm just looking lady, you know.
Yeah. That's what everybody is at first.
Yeah. Well, she's from Philly, so she's got a little bit more of that going on. A little tougher skin to get in there. But she loves that. She'll walk around in there all the time. Like, you know. But I think, everybody, I think, that goes into your store. Well, let's first tell everybody who might not know about Cherry Pickers, because we kind of know about it. So tell us about your store so we can move along from that.
What we started off as was kind of an antique and salvage store 14 years ago. And what we've evolved into is a custom home furnishings builder, designer and builder outfit. And so we still have some antiques and we still have some old stuff hanging around, but most of it is there.
Time out. More than some. They got plenty in there. He says some. People need to understand there is a lot of old stuff in there.
I think Joel's accusing you of being an active hoarder.
Well, yeah, it's funny because, and not most of what we have is not at the store. Like people will ask us, do you guys have wood, like barn wood? Like, do you have more than just what's here? I'm like, we have about 750,000 board feet of lumber under roof right now in 5 warehouses. So yes, we have some lumber.
Wow.
And we've got lots of antique furniture and things like that, but most of it doesn't sell as is. Kind of off air, we were talking about that. A lot of times people will come in and they'll see something we have and want to know if we can expand on it, if we can restore it, if we can change the function of it so that it can become part of their kitchen or a bathroom vanity or whatever else they've got going.
Right. What were you going to say, Chris? You were out that you were going to say something there.
Oh, I was, but that's okay. We've moved on.
Well, we're talking with Mark Lichty from Cherry Pickers in Shipshewana on Morton Street.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I
Chris.
was thinking, you 5 warehouses now?
We do, yeah.
Because I think the last time I was there, you were still in one building.
Yeah.
5 now? Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
4 of them came through an acquisition last year, and that's another story, but it's a good one.
We're into good stories. I don't know. When Joel said come in and tell bad stories, he was lying. We went to good stories.
Well,
no, but when you said acquisition, you sound like you're the Elon Musk
an
of
impressive
antiques.
word. Yeah, I don't know if this is impressive or not, but Stephanie, my wife, and I started the business 14 years ago, and at the end of 2023, we were exhausted. We were just very we liked what we did. We enjoyed getting to create things, but kind of felt like we had accomplished all the goals we had set out to. Didn't really have any new vision for where to go, and we were putting in a lot of hours and just tired. So most of 2024 was the conversation between the two of us of, should we quit?
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, and we were, but we kept going to work every day, and we kept doing what we'd always done. And a gentleman that cut some lumber for us, he had a 72-inch wide bandsaw, called me up and said, "I'm moving. Do you want to buy my bandsaw?" I'm like, I don't know. Probably. So we went to take a look at it. It's a huge operation, but the short of it is he wanted to sell us a business. We wanted to buy a piece of equipment, and we didn't come to terms. But that began an exploration for other opportunities, not knowing if that was going to be for us to get out of what we were doing or to add on and to what we were doing already. We were just, I think, maybe out of boredom looking. And the third opportunity we came across, went out to, there's a guy that had a kiln operation, and he dried lumber for us, but he also did a lot of heat treating. When you're working with reclaimed lumber, you want to make sure there's no bugs, no dormant insects, things like that in there. So in addition to getting the moisture content down, we wanted to cook everything that was living inside of it. So
Sounds delicious.
it's not as much as you'd think. Yeah. So he had some health issues, some other things going on, and he decided he wanted to be out. So we went out there to take a look at his operation. Myself and a gentleman that had a business across the street from where I lived, we had kind of just been talking, and we went to look together. And we ended up being partners on this endeavor, and he's not who I thought I would partner with. He was an Amish gentleman. He was 30 years old, which I'm now old enough that I could almost be his dad. And I was like, no. But he's really sharp. He's really great at team building.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyways, we went out and looked at this opportunity together, and I asked him about a piece of equipment that he had for sale. I was actually talking with his son. He has a 52-inch planer sander, and wanted to add that to our shop. And his son said, well, if you want to buy it, maybe we can work something out, but we already have an offer on all of the equipment and all of the inventory. And there's 4 warehouses out there with 2,000 live edge slabs, tons of other dimensional lumber that he'd been speculating on. He would buy the lumber, dry it with the idea that he would sell it for a profit.
Okay, so
But he never really got around to selling it. And so he had acquired just gobs and gobs of lumber. And he had also thought maybe he'd get into fabricating, so he had collected a lot of equipment too. So we're looking around. There's probably wholesale, and we've always been a retailer, but wholesale, there was conservatively between $600,000 and $700,000 in lumber laying there. There was several $100,000 in equipment laying there, including vacuum kilns that were in operation. And so I said, well, what's the offer? And he said less than $100,000.
okay, so
Yeah.
you're
So all of a sudden, we're like, well, I guess we need to. So, anyways, one thing led to another. He goes, if you want to put an offer in on everything, you could do that, but it all has to be gone in 90 days. So if I did not already have a full-time job, and if I had a place to go with it, and if my wife wasn't 8.5 months pregnant at the time,
oh wow,
I still wouldn't be able to move that stuff in 90 days. There's no way. There's just so much stuff. So the guy that's with me kind of winked at me, and he said, so you're selling the property too, huh? And he goes, well, how many acres do you have? He said 40 acres. It's almost all woods. And so what do you think you're going to get for it? And he kind of, so we ended up making an offer the next morning because they were going to sign with an auction house.
Oh, that'd be
evening.
disaster, right?
Yeah. So I went home and I told my wife, again, who's 8.5 months pregnant. She goes, "How was your day?" I'm like, "Pretty good." I
used all our money for something.
Yeah. I was like, what would you think if instead of quitting, what if we just doubled? And what if we took on?
She immediately went into labor.
Yeah.
Well, what was really cool about it is, so my wife and I could not be more opposite. We're always seeing the opposite side of an issue, and that doesn't mean that we're.
So I'm going to stop you because we're running out of time. This is a great story. Okay. So we're talking with Mark Litke from Cherry Pickers in Shipshewana on Morton Street. This is a great story, but I want to give it its due. When we come back, the rest of Cherry Pickers' new chapter. When we come back, this is Measure Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling and Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential, and you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply, everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops, with the showroom now open in Granger next to C. Kramer Interiors, and Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. We've got special guest making the air light and fresh. You smell great, Mark.
Thank you.
Mark Litke from Cherry Pickers in Shipshewana on Morton Street. Cherry Pickers is like my favorite store in Shipshewana. Like, I've never seen you in. I've never been in there when you've been in there, ever. But that means you're busy.
It is.
Yeah, and I don't tell you when I'm coming over.
I think over the course of this next summer, I will be around. I'll be in the store a lot more.
You see the guilt I put on him? I was like, I was like my Italian grandmother there for a second. I don't see you in the store ever. I don't know. But if you've not been to Cherry Pickers, you can go to I'm going to tell them to the website, even though you're revamping the website. We'll just disclaim that.
Yeah, go for it.
The website is about to change for the better. But it's cherrypickersinc.com. If you're in the area and you type Cherry Pickers in, it's going to come up there, and you can't miss it. And see some of the crazy one of a kind. Everything is one of a kind.
Everything's a one-off.
But let's get back to the story of Al, like you expanded, because it's a really cool story, and I'll just recap it real fast.
Sure.
Basically, Cherry Pickers, rags to riches story, started to...
Rags to something.
Yeah, I know. I knew as soon as I said riches, you'd be like, I ain't rich. Don't put me in that group. You're enriched. How's that? A rags to enriched story, where you just started from small and then it just grew organically to cover a lot of things. And then you guys had a turning point in your life with your wife that you were like, this is it. We've accomplished goals. It's time for something else. And he stumbled across a business, a kiln business. And that's where we are in the story. Just ready, set, go, action.
Yeah, so we had a very limited window of time to make an offer if we were going to. And so I went home and I told my wife, who was 8.5 months pregnant, somewhat unexpectedly, by the way. Our oldest and our youngest are 21 years apart. This was, and
wow.
So, and the one that we had found out was coming 2 days after our daughter got married, needed a playmate. That's the one that we were on in this particular case. So it was she was handling it like a champ, but already had a full plate. And that's on top of, like I said before, we just see things very differently. We have very different vantage points on everything. And so I just presented the opportunity to her, and I said we would go 50-50 with Harley across the street. What do you think? Is that a thing? And she goes, she thought about it for, I think like 10 seconds. And she goes, yeah, maybe we could do that. I think that would be a good idea. And for us to think it's a good idea that quickly together it's just such a standout thing. Like it gets both of our attention. So we slept on it, and the next morning I got a call from Harley who we partnered with, and he said, "Are you still excited?" I said, "I am." You? He goes, "More so." He goes, "I think this is what we've been looking for." So we made an offer on the property that was more than they were thinking they were going to get. But when they accepted that offer and we had to go through the evaluation of the property, we had instant equity on the property plus all of the inventory.
Yeah.
So it ended up being a really good opportunity for us. And we got to cleaning. There was just stuff everywhere. So we were in discovery mode for probably 6 months. We were there for a year, and I found a piece of equipment that I didn't know was there. It was behind another pile of slabs. I'm like, oh my goodness, we could use this.
You had a picker moment on something that you owned.
Yeah, we've been picking ourselves for the last 18 months maybe.
Yeah,
so
I think that's kind of interesting because it is just an extension of how you do business, really, isn't it? Because you stumbled across something, then you made it yours. Yeah, and it's kind of like in the spirit of what you did already, just on a large scale, you know.
So we get through that whole story. Starts with trying to get a mill, and you're telling me you still don't have a mill?
I don't. No, we don't have a mill, and we have. Yeah, not yet. We're looking into it, but as we've kind of been building up our cabinet shop, there's other things that keep presenting themselves as things that we would rather do first, and really, the main reason we don't feel like we need a mill at this time is we're sitting on 2,000 slabs.
Yeah.
You know, so
you got to get through those first.
They're already milled.
Yeah, we could make more. And you know, when we got there, I'd say 90% of those slabs had already been dried. So these are
ready
dried,
to go.
They're surfaced, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
So you're saying if somebody wants a cabinet like that's never been seen before, right?
Yeah. Well, the slab. When I say slabs, I'm talking about like live edge stuff. So tables, countertop, shelves. Yeah, but we've built furniture out of that stuff as well, and then we still have our original warehouse full of reclaimed.
So, are you using software if somebody wants to build something? Do you sit with software, or you sit with a slide rule and graph paper?
I have an ink pen that I really like. It's a pretty normal one.
Oh.
From I think Meyer.
Ink pen.
Yeah. And computer paper, and we'll sit down and we kind of do a 3-dimensional doodle that, and we're also using pictures. You know, if a customer will present us with something that they've seen and that they have on their Pinterest page, and they'll say, well, we kind of like this, and then they'll see something in the showroom they like, and so from there we're trying to take 3 or 4 ideas plus a whole original new thought, and if we can get that on paper well enough that we agree we're talking about the same thing, then it usually has worked.
Well, and something that Mark didn't bring up in this period of time, like the business expanded in personnel with your family too, correct?
Yeah, right.
And that's something that's near and dear to my heart because we're a family business, and it's just a real blessing to be able to work with your family. You know, there's a lot of people who say, "Oh, you work with your dad and your brother and your son." Like, I could never do that. You know, it's like, I just don't understand that, but apparently it's something that's not really common. So I think that's a pretty cool part of the whole story too.
Well,
it is.
Yeah, you get generational family businesses and somebody wants out. And it's not their fault or problem, but you run it. That's the thing. And you're blessed to not have that. Like, nobody wanted out. Everybody wants it. You know,
right.
And that's important.
Well, and that's kind of like yours. It's kind of almost the other way around because your dad is with you now. Like,
yeah.
And
you become more
so
like
it comes
you.
the other. For Mark, it's going the other way where it's like, man, his dad and his brother are there too, and they're just great guys too. I love all of them, and so it's cool to see like this thing growing in a manner like that where they can all come together, and it's just really
right.
It's just a really cool story.
So we're talking with Mark Litke from Cherry Pickers in Shipshewana on Morton Street. Website cherrypickersinc.com. If you want to get a hold of them, you're going to have to be quick and be an antique. No, I'm just kidding. He'll find you if you're laying around. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm not kidding. If something's laying around, I think Mark will find it. It might take you 6 months in your own warehouse, but eventually you'll get there. But so let's talk about like how somebody works with like somebody like Chris. You would you, as a designer, you might find a business like Cherry Pickers if you have a something specific or rare, right? Like as a designer, how do you see Cherry Pickers?
How do I see them?
Yeah.
As a very unique opportunity to put unique pieces in your home. Like, for example, it's been a few years ago, but I was there looking for a piece to make a vanity for a bathroom. And I think you took me upstairs.
Yeah.
Or was it no, it was a piece that you found in a barn that we converted into a vanity. I think that client still works periodically with you guys.
Which one?
Frames.
Well, we won't.
Yeah. Dave Frame?
Yeah.
There you go. Now he's famous.
Love that guy.
Yeah, they're great people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it started with, we found this old piece that was in a barn, and it was, when you looked at it, it was pretty dilapidated. You're like, but it
was the wrong size.
And it was the wrong size.
Yeah.
But you could see the potential. So yeah, that's how. Oh, and the door you had a beautiful old door that we thought might be from Notre Dame when they remodeled.
It was from the Golden Dome.
It's from the Golden Dome. Put it in a house that was being built by someone who works for Notre Dame, and it became her office store.
I always say, like, Cherry Pickers to me is a place where even if everybody in the world switched to antique, restored furniture, and even if everybody in the world did that, your piece would still be different. That's how I refer to Cherry Pickers. Somehow you figure out how to make every single thing unique and different.
And that's a high compliment. Appreciate
Well, I mean, but I've seen it firsthand, so it's kind of cool. Like I tell people when I go back home to New Jersey, I'm like, you don't have anything like we have. And I'm not necessarily just talking about Cherry Pickers, because we're fortunate to live in a place where we have that. When we come back, let's dive in a little bit more into Cherry Pickers and find out how you might use Cherry Pickers in your own home. This is Measure Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors and Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential. And you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk, 95.3 MNC. We're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply, everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops, with a showroom now open in Granger next to C. Kramer Interiors and Hoosier Hardwood Floors. Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You could visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. We are in studio live with the Mark Litke from Cherry Pickers in Shipshewana. You can feel the electric in the air. And by electric, I mean there's like barnwood dust. You just come in with it and here it's like, no, I'm just kidding. But if I were to, let's give a second to talk, just like give us a sentence on your store. Like how do you describe?
One sentence.
Yeah, I want you one sentence. He's like, one sentence.
Okay.
Say.
I don't know if this is what we are. What we hope to be is a place where somebody who's looking for something that has been problematic to find, they've tried several other places. We've often gotten jobs because we're a last result. We're getting past a sentence here. But that's okay. I hope.
It's okay.
They've tried several places to find what they're looking for. Maybe maybe the builder of their home is more of a box home builder, and they're looking for something that they really they're not going to find it at a box store, and they don't want their new home to feel sterile. They want something to show some sort of history and some sort of warmth. They'll come to us, and we like to build monumental pieces for them that their family will gather around for generations.
There you go. See, that last sentence was the sentence, but you had to get there because that's the heart of it, right? It's not everybody's cup of tea.
No.
And I think that's part of like being in great business is understanding that I'm not supposed to sell to everybody. Like that's not even possible. It's like, it's not offensive to say that not everybody. I know for a fact my sister, who's a great lady, she's awesome. she wouldn't go to Cherry Pickers because that's not her cup of tea. If you went in her house, it wouldn't be like that. It's different, right?
Yeah.
But my sister-in-law, she'd spend all day. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. You're not everybody's thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I have two thoughts on what you just said. One, we didn't understand that on day one. And we had to grow into that understanding. Actually, on day one, we were so poor that it didn't matter if we were your cup of tea or not. I needed the $20 in your pocket because I needed to get home.
Right.
And so what do I have to give away to you to get that $20? And so we tried really hard with everybody that came in the store.
We remember that because you actually wore a shirt with somebody else's name on it because you just had the shirt.
Yeah. Well, I still get a lot of stuff at Goodwill, but I was cold and I bought this brand new at Meijer on the way here.
Did you really?
I did. Yeah.
It's a smart looking sweater.
Well,
like
thanks.
It.
I do what I can there.
But it's the truth, right? You start when you start and and then you move along and it's like, well, you know, your name is Mark, the shirt said Kevin, you know, and because that's your personality.
Well, there's times that you need to go incognito.
I think it's you guys. I was pictured when you said that I needed the $20. It's like, hey, what are you doing today, Mark? Well, I'm fashioning this great sign that says we'll work for food. You know, like like
there was a time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely where we started.
But then you kind of, as you grow into your business, you understand that it's okay if somebody's not into what you do.
Yeah, I would qualify that with this. If we're not somebody's cup of tea,
There's something wrong with them.
if we're not somebody's cup of tea because we're unable to get on paper what they're looking for, or there's a budget restriction that we just can't accommodate, there's a number of things that could make us not a good fit for a given project. What I hate losing a project over is when they think that because we're a reclaim and salvage company, we can't accomplish the look they're going for. People will oftentimes, I think, mistakenly assume that it has to be rustic or primitive, and that's not the case. We can do very high-end, very clean line stuff, but we're just sourcing our materials from a different place. But we'll qualify with our customer what it is that they're looking for. So even if they say they want a rustic piece, that doesn't mean the same thing to everybody who says
exactly.
It. So we need to qualify what that means so we can get their rustic to them.
I was just going to say, when you said your sister wouldn't be their cup of tea, I disagree.
Right.
Because they can accommodate what she wants just based off what you showed, that photograph.
Yeah.
That beautiful, is it a bar? Kitchen?
It's a kitchen.
Kitchen. I mean, that's pretty incredible, and that would suit almost anybody.
You're right. Nobody
aesthetic.
would walk up to that and be like, "Oh, obviously you got that from a barn." Like nobody would do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
They wouldn't.
to say that that wouldn't be your sister's cup of tea, you're thinking of it from the rustic side.
I know.
Not from
I'm often wrong.
the refined side.
Well, and that's why we're redoing our showroom right now too, because if you came in, we still look a lot like we did 8-10 years ago. We look like we emptied a barn and threw it into our store and called it inventory, hoping that you'd believe that it's not just a pile of junk. You know, and we had a few pieces that we had built or worked on that you could kind of see the after, but it would be very easy for somebody who didn't know anything about us on day one to walk through our store for the first time and completely miss what we do.
Right.
And
you put before and after pictures up with the pieces there. You should put like
we
Just a
didn't
before, right?
the before, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even put a sign. There's not even a sign at our store out front that says Cherry Pickers.
Yeah, I know.
It's pretty miserable. But I studied marketing, by the way. So
Guerrilla marketing.
yeah, I did flunk out, but I studied it until I flunked out, and we just have done a terrible job of marketing. But it's never.
Well, you did a good job of being who you are. So I think that kind of shines through. Like that's a form of marketing, is being authentic.
And the store says the same thing. I love going through the store and just having all that, just rummaging through all of that stuff. It's really fun.
Don't make it too
it's
clean.
Unique. Exactly.
Don't clean it up too much.
We have been warned not to clean it up too much. But what we've discovered is while we like being the picker, and the idea was that we wanted there to be an element of discovery so the person coming in the store could be the picker. Mm-hmm. Most people weren't comfortable doing that. They really, if there was a pile of something, maybe it's supposed to just be that way, and that's an interesting way to display things. I probably shouldn't dig through that. They would pass by it or walk around it and not even look at it. So we've cleaned it up since then, but we still have a lot of the same types of things. And just looking at what we sell and what we're trying to become, we just didn't feel over the last year looking at what we had laying around that it was in representing that very well. Right. So we're just changing it. We're not getting rid of anything, but we're trying to add to what we've had there so that it's just a clearer message.
To give people an example of, like, I see what you're saying, because if you don't ever have an example of what something looks cleaned up, so to speak, and refined, because I think that's what you're saying. It's like you can go to a finisher and have something finished and look like you bought it, like it does. You can't tell where it came from. You just know it's built well, right? That's what you're saying. It's like it doesn't have to look like it came from a barn. It can look as modern. It can look super modern. Yeah, is what you're saying. Yeah,
like we have, man. If anybody digs in the archives, I hope this isn't a repeat, because I like sharing this with people, and maybe I've done this here before. I don't know, but we have a log cabin that we bought all the logs from. It was put up in LaGrange County in 1830.
Wow.
And some of the white oak logs have 35 growth rings to an inch in them. So it's just, it almost makes it look like an exotic wood species, but there's no wormholes, there's no dry checks. It's just brand new lumber. And because it's a whole log, we can quarter it. So if we want quarter sawn white oak that came from something with 35 growth rings, we can do that. And it's really extraordinary looking, and we can build any kind of piece of furniture with it. And so we do rustic and primitive really well, but we don't do just that.
So, that's incredible, because where else are you going to find that? Nowhere. And now Joel is going to talk about growth rings and the old forest.
Did you see me set up?
Oh my God. That's Joel's pickup line. If you're trying to pick him up, you'd be like, let's not
start talking about growth rings.
Yeah.
I thought, that's awesome. Would you riff saw that too?
If we were asked to.
Oh man. I'm done.
That's
is it really warm in here, guys?
Yeah, look at him. We're going to take a break and give Joel a minute to cool down, because we know how important growth rings are to Joel. But when we come back, let's talk more about some of the unique things that you do, and with Cherry Pickers. We're talking with Mark Lichtke from Cherry Pickers in Shipshewana. We'll be right back. This is Measure Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling and Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential, and you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. Brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply, everything doors, cabinets, countertops, and with the showroom now opening Granger next to C. Kramer Interiors and Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You could visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. We're in studio with Mark Lichtke from Cherry Pickers in Shipshewana. You can catch them on Morton Street.
Yep.
Just like the salt, but they're not a sponsor, so whatever. And you can go online and see the website that's going to be updated very soon. cherrypickersinc.com, INC.com. And I like the website. I think the pictures are cool.
It'll be better. It's a bit dated. I think it's cool too, but we've done some really, really cool things since then, and they're not on there, and we're wanting to do that. So we should be up and running with a new site here shortly, and then we'll continue to add new things.
Do you normally meet with people? Somebody comes in, or how do you get? Is it all referral? We talk to business people. It's like, oh, referral. I get it. Referral is probably a huge part of your business. once somebody's referred, though, generally they're spending time directly with you. Are you like the chief designer?
Yeah, it depends on what they're looking for. You know, my dad has joined the team, and he does some design work. My dad, I think, was a really gifted and anointed designer in the kitchen and bath world for a long, long time. I feel like a lot of the gifts that I do have, I got from that guy. But the Reclaim thing and what we're doing is very new to him, and so I still usually run point on that. But he's a valuable contributor as well.
Now, I got admonished last segment because I was like, oh, it's not everybody's cup of tea, because really you can make the reclaimedness is the material. It doesn't have to look like you reclaimed it, right? You can make it look fresh and
right. What we're ending up with and where we source the materials from don't always look related. So, yeah, I think that's probably the part that tickles me the most. When we get, like I showed you a picture of that rocking chair that Steph's grandpa did. We had an old barn beam, a sleeper log, that he turned into, a $6,000 or $8,000 rocking chair. Just a phenomenal piece. And Chris, like you called it, a piece of artwork, which is, I think, I can say I agree with that. It was his thing. It wasn't mine, but he's an artist and just a phenomenal piece, but it doesn't look like it came from a barn.
No. Chris, how would you describe the rocking chair? What's the style of it?
Oh boy, Shaker meets Mission. Yeah. It has that kind of, there's a company out there called Thomas Mosier. It kind of has that vibe, but even more refined, I think, than Thomas Mosier.
Right.
It's just beautiful.
You can't detect that it's reclaimed at all.
Oh, gosh. No way. No way.
Yeah. So, inside these boards, you had mentioned somebody that was like, oh, this thing's, so muddy and dirty.
Right.
All that gets brushed off.
Yeah. Right. In the transformation process that it goes through, from milling to drying it out, metal detecting it, and then turning it into, it really looks different. And I think the part that tickles me about that the most is I feel like that's been my story. You know, when I got married to my wife, I was a bum. She really did not get the good end of that deal. And the Lord ministered to me that I wasn't a very thankful person, and that was my first change, to become thankful as a discipline, and it just created a pivot point and led to one change after another, and I feel very strongly that I don't look like the same guy that she got married to, and she's not the person that I married either. We've both gone through a transformation process, and we've seen that in some of our children. We've seen that in a lot of other people that we've had the privilege to know. And so I would say, if I'm allowed to use this word, what we do is maybe kind of a prophetic image of what we believe the Lord does in people. And so, so that's kind of the heart side of it. Another way of looking at it, though, maybe from more of a competitive mindset that I have, I really don't like being pigeonholed. I really don't like being thought of as somebody that can only do one thing with what we have. So we really like to bust out of that. And so, we feel pretty confident that we can accomplish anything if we can get it on paper first or have an image to go off of. We know what you're looking for. I think we can accomplish it.
Secretly, we always talk about planning. We always laugh because, no matter how much we talk about stuff that goes on in the construction design world, we always end up coming back to, you got to have a really good plan. Even if the plan's going to change, you got to have a plan. And it's funny how you circle back, hey, if we can get it on paper, if we can create a plan, even if the plan's going to change, right? That plan is a good place to start. And then you can transform this stuff into basically whatever you're thinking of. I do have a question, though. How do you feel about like paint? Like, does anything you make get painted, or does that hurt you, like your heart, to put paint on it?
Hopefully none of these folks listen to this, but there's been times that we've been asked to do like just a plain painted white kitchen,
right?
And I always try to say, yeah, sure, we can do that. There's a lot of things that we can do. A lot of people have asked us, and we see some things trending this way. We could do some of these things, and like, that's awesome. So, but you can do a painted white kitchen, right? And I'm like, yep. So we've done that. It pays the bills. We're excited that they are excited about it. But it's not.
Why cover that wood? That's what I hear.
Well, so sometimes, like in one case though, we did a painted kitchen for somebody, and we did reclaimed wood floors for them, and the floors popped more because of the cabinets didn't.
And I could see Chris is like on.
So it definitely has its place, and if you want painted stuff, don't hesitate to talk to us. We'll still do it.
Yeah, and then it's not like they're taking walnut and making the kitchen then painting it white, right? It'd be a different species.
Boy, that would be.
Though the look tells me I'm wrong.
No, we did a kitchen for somebody that they wanted. Yeah, it was. We did it out of maple, but it was really extraordinary.
Because it's all old growth.
It was all old growth. It was curly. There was some.
Joel's gonna be like, give me the address.
You're telling me they painted that?
We painted it.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, I want to know where this is.
Oh,
yeah.
And
Molotov cocktail.
And we did that.
Come on.
And it's a beautiful kitchen and beautiful family. We love them, but yeah, we did the island. I will say, when we did the island for them, which was out of the same material, but it was more of a natural finish. He wanted the whole kitchen that, and she looked at it and she goes, "Oops." But it's still really sharp, and kind of to the point we were making, that island maybe looks more the way it does because of the white backdrop.
right. Otherwise, it would be maybe a little busy.
Yeah.
All the same.
Right.
Could have been. So yeah, it has its place, and
Boy.
Yeah,
Painful sometimes. Yeah.
we'll do.
Well, thanks for listening. We're out of time. We'll see you next week on Measure Twice.
Podcasts by Federated Media.